Hey there, restaurant recipe lovers. Welcome back to The Daily Dish, a Copycat.com podcast where I help you recreate your favorite restaurant dishes right in your own kitchen. I'm Stephanie Manley, and I've been recreating your favorite recipes since 1995. First off, I have to thank you for making our recipes, sharing the photos on social media, and leaving comments on the website. They really make my day and inspire me to create more copycat recipes for you. Remember, you can always find the complete written version of today's recipe on copycat.com. We also place a link in the show notes on this podcast. That way you can get all of the measurements, photos, detailed instructions, and step-by-step photos. We all heard that collective gasp of disappointment when KFC discontinued their iconic potato wedges. I know I certainly heard it. So many of you reached out and asked, hey, can you figure this one out? And I knew I had to create those beloved, crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside potato delights. Well, my friends, after some serious kitchen testing, I cracked the code, and I think our version might be even better than the original. Now, today we are going to talk about the KFC potato wedges. I'm going to walk you through my double battering and double frying technique that really gives these wedges their signature crunch and flavor. What makes this recipe so budget-friendly is that it uses simple ingredients most of us already have in our pantries. Russet potatoes are usually the most economical potatoes at the grocery store. They work perfectly for this recipe because of their high starch content. The rest of the ingredients, flour, eggs, milk, and basic seasoning are pantry staples that won't break the bank. So let's talk about these ingredients. You're going to need russet potatoes, all-purpose flour, milk, an egg, salt, garlic salt, onion powder, and ground black pepper. And if you have it on hand, poultry seasoning also really will boost the flavor on these. So if you have it, great, use it. And if you don't, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I know some of you may be watching your sodium. Intake or avoiding gluten. So let me offer some alternatives up front. You can use gluten-free flour with great results, and you can reduce the salt and compensate with extra herbs or even a touch of paprika for more flavor. Now, the real secret to these potato wedges just isn't in the ingredients. It's the technique. We are going to start by soaking the cut potatoes in cold water for at least an hour. This removes the excess starch, and is a step you don't want to skip. Trust me, I've tried the shortcuts, and soaking makes a noticeable difference in the final texture. After soaking, we create a double battering station. Dry ingredients in one bowl, egg and milk mixture in another. Each potato wedge gets dredged in flour first, then dipped into the wet mixture, and then back into the flour for a second coating. This creates those multiple layers of seasoned crunchiness that make the KFC version so addictive. But here's where the magic really happens. It's the double fry method. First, we fry the potatoes at 350 degrees for about 5 to 6 minutes first. And now they're partially cooked. Then, after all the batches have had their first fry, we increase the temperature to 375 degrees and then fry them for an additional 3 to 4 minutes or until they're deeply golden brown. This two-stage frying is what creates that perfect contrast between crisp exterior and a tender interior. Often when we buy anything fried at a restaurant, it's often already been pre-fried and they're just frying it again before we order it. So often this is already taken into account when you order something from a restaurant. We're just duplicating that process. I know what some of you may be thinking, Stephanie, I don't want to deep fry. I hear you. While the authentic texture really comes from frying, I've had good results using an air fryer too. Spray the coated wedges with a little oil and air fry for 380 degrees for about 15 minutes, turning halfway. They won't be exactly the same, but they'll still be delicious. Now, your personal air fryer may work a little bit differently, or the timing may be a little bit off. That's just a general rule. If you're going to deviate from this, just be aware that you may have to make additional adjustments. What I love about cooking these at home is you can adjust the seasonings to your own liking. Some listeners have told me that they like to add a pinch of cayenne for heat. Others like to add a little bit of smoked paprika for a different flavor profile. One of my favorites is adding a little bit of dried rosemary to the flour mixture. It gives these wedges an unexpected but delicious herbal note. This is not the way the KFC does it, but when you are cooking things at home, you can do it your way. All right, these potato wedges are perfect alongside homemade fried chicken for the complete KFC experience, but they're equally delicious with burgers, sandwiches, or even on their own as an appetizer with different dipping sauces. I love sitting out little bowls of ranch dressing, honey mustard, and barbecue sauce when I serve these at gatherings. It's always a crowd pleaser. For those of you meal prepping, yes, you can make these ahead. Complete the first fry, cool completely, and refrigerate for up to 2 days. Then just before serving, do the second fry. This is a great time-saving trick when you're entertaining. All right, folks, I'm ready to wrap it up. So I hope you enjoy these double crisp KFC potato wedges. I hope you give this recipe a try. They're economical, they're customizable, and I promise they'll satisfy that craving for that discontinued original. But remember, you can get the complete recipe either on the blog at copycat.com or by clicking on the show notes in this podcast. Until then, this is Stephanie Manley from copycat.com, where I help you bring that restaurant experience at home. Why go out when you can make it at home?